I'm BD Dalton from Rockfine Group and founder of the BullRing, which is Birmingham's answer to the Dragon's Den and Shark Tank. It's an entrepreneur showcase that allows people to show off their businesses, talk to investors and possible future partners and even clients, either over Zoom or in person. What's in it for you? One, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to learn what else is out there, what problems people are running into, and also what investors and clients are looking for in new products. If you're a person that wants to invest, you're going to see what's happening out there and what type of companies are looking for partnerships or things that they can be invested in or actually receive money for. The BullRing trains you up a week ahead of time to walk through your 5-minute pitch. You get to do that with the other pitchers. You get to see what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. Then on the day, you get your 5-minute pitch to sometimes 75 to 100 different people that will either know more about your company as a client, as a potential partner, or even a potential investor. Our pitchers have had the opportunity to partner up with Microsoft, Amazon, some of the big gaming names, and even some potential European big boys. If you're just somebody from the general public and you want to know what's happening here in Birmingham and the wider Midlands, then you'd come along to see what's happening for businesses that are startup or scale up. Hey everybody, welcome to the BullRing. Today, April 22nd, 2001, flying by. So welcome to the BullRing. If this is your first one or you come back here often to see what's happening in entrepreneur land and seeing what's happening all over the globe actually, and we'll talk a little bit about this. We've expanded our kind of things that we're talking about here and who we're talking to. So Mahul, could you move us on to the next slide, please? Look at the BullRing. We have what we call our bulls, the bullpen. And the job of the showcase of the BullRing is all about showcasing companies. Sometimes it's going to be for money. Sometimes it's going to be for a non-exec director. Sometimes it's going to be for partnerships to take them either globally or actually into other markets, maybe into a cross-sector innovation situation. So here's some of our bulls, but let's move on to the next one. And these are some of the companies that have gone through here. So we've had all sorts of people from sports to visuals to movies, games, everything else that's coming along here. So it's not sector specific. This is the opportunity to showcase what you've got going on. And guess what? Because of the beauty of Zoom and some of the things that have happened to us now with COVID and all the fun stuff, don't want to date this too much, but with Zoom, we've had people pitch from all over the world now, and we also have bulls chiming in from all over the world. So you're not just getting a UK perspective, you're getting a global perspective on what's happening out there in entrepreneur land. So welcome to the BullRing. Go to the next slide for me, Mahul, please. So if this is your first one, then you want to see, this is arena style pitching. So this is fun, there's feedback, there's thumbs up, there's some thumb down. It's MC led by me, so you get to hear me a lot, but it's more about showcasing the businesses. They're 5-minute pitches. This is very difficult, but you'll get to see some great things in the way that people have actually learned how to do this. Focused interactions, which we'll talk about in a second, and then crowd engagement. This is the big thing because it's not just about what the bulls are going to feedback, but you also get to say, did I understand what happened? Mahul, next slide, please. So we're going to try this out. Most of you, it's been a year on Zoom or some other thing. So let's test out and see if you know how to use a poll. So, and we'll also see if you looked and paid any attention to all those shots of Michael Quintana in the videos in the beginning of this. So Michael, I'm not paying you any image rights. So look at this, a lot of first-time attendees. Some people are learning. We'll have some fun with this. We get it, we'll get it. Okay, Mahul, let's end it. There it is. People, we'll get faster on the buttons, but that's good. So thank you very much, Mahul. So those focus interactions, you're going to be able to talk to those companies by showing this to them. They'll be able to see what's happened from their pitch. Sometimes it's not the best day. Sometimes it's not the best product. Sometimes it's not the right audience. But we'll move on to the next slide. Mahul. So I'm going to hand it over to Mike Pagan, who helps us make sure that when we get these pitches through, that they're going to be very effective and make the most of a showcase for the companies, but also for you guys as the viewers. So over to you for a sec, Michael, to talk about pitch perfect practice and what we've done with these people.
Thanks, BD. Yeah, in simple terms, this is a 5-minute pitch, which is an unusual length of time for most people to be pitching, because they like to be able to talk about your inventions and your creations for hours, days, weeks even. So it's getting it all into 5 minutes. So it's more than an elevator pitch, but it's not giving all the inside track and everything else. So these guys are working on how to share what they're doing, the evidence of what they've built, why it's so clever, why it's so great, and what you actually need, whether it be money, whether it be non-execs or collaborations or employees. There's different things that they're asking for. And that's what we've been trying to work on with the pitch perfect practice, getting these pitchers all in a room, sharing best practice, simple ideas, techniques and thoughts, but also helping them hone their methods, their messages, so that the bulls and the audience can be sitting there thinking, okay, I get this. This is brilliant. I'm excited. I want to know more. And that's the big takeaway from these showcases today, is that's interesting. I want to know more, whether that be coming from the bulls or other members of the audience who are turning around and saying, I like what they're talking about here. I'm going to reach out and make that connection. So today is about building connections. As previous bull rings have done, they've generated huge numbers of these connections, leading to investment, support, and everything else. So good luck to all of the pitchers today.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. But you guys are here to look at the businesses, but you also want to hear the invaluable feedback from our bulls. So the bull ring is full of bulls, and I'm going to let Volker introduce himself. But thank you. Welcome back, Volker, as one of our bulls from Amadeus Capital. Over to Volker, if you just tell us a little bit about your background so that the people know why they should be listening to you.
Thank you. I mean, it's all on the screen. So really enough. So Amadeus is we're an early stage fund. We invested seed in A, our newest fund, which is the 5th dedicated early stage one. It's 110 million pounds. And we tend to invest in what people term deep tech. So anything from, I mean, as wild as quantum computing, if you want to go there. As an entrepreneur before, I spent a ton of time in mobile technologies and mobile entertainment, including games and all that sort of stuff. So I have an angle on that as well. And in between, I was at Scrolloop, which the company, we sold it to BlackBerry when they were still there and had cash to spend. And then after that, I invested as an angel for 8 or 9 years or so. And that was across a range of things, including things like edtech, for instance, education, where I was quite active. I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Awesome, that was great, and you could see the pedigree that we have in our bulls, and we'll move on to Jonathan. Jonathan, welcome to your first bull ring and first as a bull in the bullpen. So welcome, Jonathan.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm co-founder of And Rising, which is originally an advertising agency, and my background's in brand and advertising. And now we are a creative ventures firm. Similar to Volker, we look at seed and Series A stages. It's primarily a creative capital model, so it's a swap of expertise and team for sweat equity. And then we help develop the brand and scale it. And we have around 20 ventures in our portfolio at the moment, and their combined valuation is probably a little over 500 million. And we're probably putting in around 1 million in sweat equity into different things over the year. So it's mainly consumer brands, direct to consumer, but also premium food and drink, and then some consumer tech as well, fintech and ed tech.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And last but not least, returning to the bull ring, Michael Quintana. Welcome back, Michael. He's got.
Sorry, you think by now I would remember how to take that off. Hey guys, how you doing? So as you know, my name is Michael Quintana. I'm the director of innovation solutions at Sony Sports and within the Hawkeye division. So really just looking at emerging technology, looking at volumetric capture, how this can be used both within the sports world. We plug a lot of things into the broadcast space. Definitely, I'm a tech geek at heart, especially in the entertainment and engagement, fan engagement side of things. So really interested to see kind of, what we have coming here through the BullRing, but I'm excited to be a part of it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So you can see that we've got a great pedigree in the bullpen, but you're here to see the showcase of these great pitches. So up first, we have Hannah from Stageless. So as Mehul gets him set up in the background, Mehul runs everything. We'll get you on spotlight, and we'll also make sure that you're ready to go with your slides. And then it is a 5-minute pitch, and I am fairly hot on making sure that that happens. And then we have feedback from our bulls. So Hannah, if I could see your slides, and once I can, then we'll move on to your 5-minute pitch. So full screen. Ready? Your 5 minutes, Hannah, from Stageless starts now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hannah Elsey. I'm the founder and CEO of Stageless. Stageless, we create live entertainment experiences. So these are unique productions which are tailored for you and can be performed wherever and whenever you want them to be. So this creates unforgettable memories. We can perform to individuals and businesses. So more about me. So I have 23 years of experience in the performing arts. I started performing when I was 4, so I have real domain expertise in this area. I've spent 8 years in London as a theatre producer, and over that time I've raised £300,000 for shows, and I used to work for the Old Vic. My purpose for setting up Stages is to democratise the theatre industry and also make sure that wonderful live entertainment is accessible to everybody. So the types of live experiences we can create. We can create corporate events, brand activations, community experiences, and pop-up productions. We can elevate your marriage proposal, your wedding, your wake. We can make something fun for a hen or a stag do or a holiday. We can also make things for birthday parties, anniversary parties, or on Saturday night, just because. So, traction. Stageless has been set up for 3 months. I got the inspiration to set up Stageless after working on a series of garden productions last year and seeing just how much people loved live entertainment coming directly to them. So I've set up an expert advisory team around me so that Stageless can scale quickly and effectively. I have a team of 40 creatives who I know and trust, who are ready to create productions for you. These are people who are otherwise working in the West End, at the National Theatre, at the Royal Opera House, or at the Royal Shakespeare Company. So really top talent who I know personally. The contracts I have secured and that are in the pipeline range from the value of £300 to £35,000, and these are around the UK, not just in London. We can deliver productions to anywhere in the UK, and I have international connections and international ambitions for the business. We're currently creating performances on Zoom and in real life. So how does Stageless work? We have a menu of live experiences which you can choose from to order to come directly to you. We can also uniquely tailor productions, so you can get in touch with us and tell us what you want and we'll make it for you. This all begins with a 15-minute no obligation consultation, which you can book through our website. We can make everything for you from concept to completion for your show. The creativity will be entirely delegated to my army of professionals. So, competition in this space. There is another theatre delivery company called Revels in Hand. However, they're very small and niche and boutique. They tend to do only Shakespeare, and the same people who are booking the show and running the business are the performers. I'm not a performer. My sole purpose is to build and grow this business and to serve the clients. And the actors are people who I'm going to work with as freelancers. Going to the West End, sure, that's also competition. But if you think about the hassle of going into London to watch a show, once you think about the price of the ticket, you think about the meal, the travel, the accommodation, and anything you buy along the way, for a family of 4, that is easily £800 or £900. We can price match that by making a West End quality show, which can come to that family, and they don't even need to leave the house or make the fuss of going to London. Indirect competition, how do other people spend their leisure pound? Well, there's things like Netflix, going to an escape room, or going to an outdoor dining experience. These are all inauthentic, they're different experiences, they're quite run of the mill, they're not special like a stageless production, which has been made for you. It's a once in a lifetime experience. So what am I looking for? I'm looking to work with you. Anybody who wants to create unforgettable memories and create a beautiful production, I would love to work with you. Impress your family, friends, colleagues, and clients by booking a stageless production today. I'd like you to experience something in real life again at a safe social distance, of course. I'm also interested if anybody has a connection with Jake Bowden, who's a market manager at Airbnb in the UK. I'd like to talk to him about Airbnb experiences. Or if anybody has a connection with Sarah Haywood, who's a wedding producer, please put me in touch. So my contact details are at the bottom of the slide there. Hannah LC, co-founder and CEO of Stageless, creating live entertainment experiences that come directly to you. Thank you very much. And I look forward to hearing about what you think about the business.
4:58, bang on. Look at you, awesome stuff. Okay, so in our normal thing, obviously there's going to be lots of questions and lots of feedback. But in an interest of time, if our bulls, each of you could come on and give one thing that you like and you think is good there, and one bit of constructive feedback, or not criticism, but kind of an idea of things just to, wow, I really want to question that. So we'll start off with Michael. If we'll start off with you, and if you can give Hannah one bit of good and one bit of challenge.
I'm gonna get used to leaving my mute off. So Hannah, no, that's really good. Very animated. I thought you were one of the actors just because your presentation skills were spot on, I felt like. So one of the while I try to in my head think of a negative or a constructive, one of the positive things was I like that you're at the end how you specifically asked for two contacts that you want to get in touch, you have an opportunity that would be worthwhile presenting in front of them, and I felt like that's really targeted. So I like that, and this is the perfect forum to reach out, whether it's us or somebody watching who might have these contacts. So that was good. That was really good. It shows you kind of know your market and you know where you're trying to put some pressure. The thing I was going to ask you is on these productions, do you guys have logistics in place for things like bringing lighting and any kind of stage production? I know as a former photographer, I know that's always a bit of an issue sometimes having to organize flashes and remote studio stuff when you're going on location.
Cool. No, that's good. So no, it's not a feedback. This is the good thing, and Michael knows this, is that it's not a response. So Hannah doesn't give a response, but things to think about and things that your investors would bring back to you. Those are great questions. So that's what we want the bulls to tee up for us. But those are
I know it now.
Actually, we'll come back at the very end if you want to have further discussions. That's what we have the breakout rooms for at the end. But those are great feedback for everybody, Michael. Thank you. Volker, over to you.
Well. So to any startup pitching, this is how it's done. It's, I mean, yeah, the delivery, Hannah, was AAA, and it's obvious that you have had stage experience. And I think generally for everyone involved, it's really important to reiterate that if you are pitching, it is a performance. Even if you say, well, but people should look at my product and not at me, that is not the case. People invest in you. So yeah, I thought that was excellent. Also, the very specific ask at the end, this is quick and actionable. I know that you haven't asked for money in your ask. Should you choose to do so at some stage, I think with businesses like yours, they always have, there are certain challenges around scale, because there's real people involved and real things involved, and those are messy and don't usually scale as well. So if and when you go out to look for money, I think it might be useful to address that in a separate slide head on, and either say, okay, why are you different than others, or why your business is actually not as complex because, I don't know, because you eventually become this type of platform, and then it manages itself or so. That is, yeah, it's a systemic challenge in businesses like yours, but it's useful to basically address that head on.
Perfect.
But yeah, excellent, thank you.
Thank you. That's I think so. Hopefully, everybody, Jonathan, that gave you a little bit of a time. I know they might have taken some of yours because those were both great feedback. So over to you, Jonathan.
Thank you for a brilliant presentation, Hannah. I really love the idea, and I think the world is ripe for things that are bespoke and event and experience based and creative and can be tailored to you. I share some of the concerns over scale, but there might be some clever things you can do around standard packages and things like that, if it didn't take away from it being the ability to tailor it and to make it very personal. I think the Airbnb contact is a marketing strategy as well. And if you're looking at digital advertising and things like that, to be able to place the service when people are making bookings like that, or they're going away, or even restaurants or whatever it might be, I think there's a really easy way to say, hey, if you've just done this, are you thinking about enhancing the experience with that? And then maybe one way round, and I agree with Volker getting the model right, how much is it going to cost and how can you service it? One way around the scale issue might be then to take the service into more video-based, lower cost type ideas that you can produce really easy, some of which may be more standardized. But again, the more standard it becomes, probably the less special you become. But there may be some more TikTokable, say, ideas that you can do that are for someone's birthday or something like that, and then all the way up to the full-blown special event. Just on that, there's an amazing video of Pharrell turning up, and it's a woman's birthday and she's dancing. Everyone in the restaurant starts dancing, and then Pharrell comes out from the back, and it captures beautifully, I think, what you're trying to create. Because I think a little 20 or 30 seconds movie of what's possible would have really put us in the story for your pitch as well. But it's very exciting. The creative, the creators economy is here, and you got something very exciting.
Perfect. Thank you, Jonathan. And that's great. So that's what we need to see. If you're sitting in the audience and you have a small business or a medium-sized business, take this into account, because it's not just about pitching to money, it's about pitching your product. So Mehul, can you share the poll? So as you guys are doing this, we're figuring out, did you understand what Stageless does? Do you understand the ask? And is it investable or not? So this is the anonymity that makes it easy for you. In the background, we have our HIT coaching. So we're doing this now. It's about 20 minutes for 10 weeks. It's just 20 minutes on one topic. So it's one of those things that we've been trying to do off the back of these things to make sure that people are busy, they've been zoomed out, but how do you just focus on little bits in the background? So if you want to know any more about that, you can contact any of us at the BullRing or at Rockfine. So let's end the poll, Mehul, and show everybody. So do you understand what Stageless does? Look at that. Beautiful. Good. And then one person, once again, didn't understand the ask. And then investable. Look at that, Hannah. That's great. Which means that investable, they believe in it, they understand it. So thank you very much for that. Thank you very much to the Bulls and Hannah. That was a great pitch. Now we'll go over to Nils from Drone Mail, live from Malta. So we're all over the place here, guys. So we'll get Nils to set up. Nils is on Spotlight. And we'll get your shares ready to go. And then I will, ready. And here we go, the beauty of that. So Nils from Drone Mail, your 5 minutes starts now.
Hello, today is a very special day for me. My name is Nathan Filk. I'm a co-founder at Drone Mail, and today is the first time Drone Mail goes public. I am happy to tell you about Drone Mail, what we have accomplished, and where we're heading. At Drone Mail, we design, we program, we build, and operate very fast and super robust flying robot drones. Drone Mail is based in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, in the Malta Islands. The sea provides us with a great design environment for drones, 100% humidity, high winds, salt corrosion, adverse weather. You might know of Malta as the first season of the TV series Game of Thrones was shot there. Early last year, our drones overcame the challenge of flying reliably through storms at sea in Nazaré, Portugal. We released a movie documenting our operations. It received incredible feedback and attracted a lot of attention. We got asked hundreds of times those two questions. First, what drones did you use? Second, how many drones did you lose? The answer is that we lost 0 of our drones during the 3 weeks of operations. This achievement becomes interesting from a business perspective. I'll explain why. Being able to fly in extreme weather conditions, such as a sea storm, is a unique design feature. It proves that drone mail drones are very fast and robust. Drone mail drones fly where others cannot and outperform the competition specifications and operational envelopes. Moreover, this resilience design means that the drones require minimal maintenance throughout yearly operations. For those reasons, our clients are using drone mail drones. We worked for the past 2 years with over 25 world champions and large corporations such as GoPro, Formula E, Eurosport, or Gravity. Fun fact about Gravity, they build personal jetpacks and are based in the UK. Our drones helped them during their crossing of the Solent to the Isle of Wight. This event was broadcasted on BBC, drones and jetpacks. Our social media channels are growing exponentially. We have today over 20,000 followers, and our videos were viewed over 5 million times. We empowered several worldwide product launch campaigns, such as GoPro's latest camera last year. So, fast speeds, large reliability, resilience, multi-purpose. Drone mail prepared since its inception to enter the delivery drone market. Indeed, we already have agreements with the government of Malta and Maltese aviation authorities. We are certifying our drones to have them integrated into the UK and European airspace. The timing is now. The European Aviation Safety Agency has legalized access this year to the drones delivery market in a unified manner. Our drones are multi-purpose. They can carry and transport over sea and land and bad weather, multiple payload types such as medicines, vaccines, masks, food, paperwork, tools, mail, parcels, and sensors for many industries like retail, logistics, defense, and oil and gas. Yes, our drones can carry goods to and from an oil tanker at sea. Drone mail aims at capturing a significant share of the drones delivery market. The opportunity is enormous. No wonder Amazon wants drones to deliver their goods to your door. But will they succeed? We access all communications between the UK Civil Aviation Authority and Amazon about the delivery drone program in the UK. This is my favorite quote from Amazon. There are uncontrollable weather issues. This seems highly problematic if one wants to establish a drones delivery business and ensure a maximum yearly service and income. So here is our plan. Within the next 18 months, we developed our contractor-owned, contractor-operated COCO business model. We grow the team of 4 today to 10 people. We certify our solution with aviation authorities. We establish a manufacturing plant so that we are ready to supply a turnkey solution to all our customers. We are looking for clients and partners and £1.3 million in exchange for share capital. Thank you.
Very good. Wow. That was fabulous, Nils. Very good, very good. And I think Mike will attest to this. We were going from 7 minutes to now Nils nailed it in 4.5 minutes. Thank you very much. That was fabulous, Nils. We'll start off with Jonathan, since you got to go last time and had to pick up after everybody else. Your turn this time. So Jonathan, you go first. Question, good comment, and a challenge for Nils.
Sure, Nils, that's amazing. I mean, the only thing I read about constantly is the kind of the fake news that comes out of Amazon that drones are really arriving for at least a good, I feel like 4, 5, 6 years now. So if you're building the machine that can really deliver it, then you're onto something. And that's quite incredible. I felt the need for share capital then looked very light. This looks like industrial strength, logistics and machinery to engineering and tech building. And in a funny sort of way, I felt the ask made it look smaller in comparison with the potential that the amount of drone talk there's been and issues with getting these things working. We've done a lot of shoots involving drones and it's the same problem. You have to be there for 6 weeks because of the weather and so on and so forth. So I thought the amount of investment then slightly undermined it, and I got a little bit lost on exactly who the first customer was going to be for it, and where you thought the first clients were going to be. I got a bit lost there, whether it was essentially like a contract for last mile delivery with Amazon or similar shipping things. But I'm a little bit on the edges of my own domain expertise, I'm afraid, or lack, or should I say. But a very exciting area that you're in, and a great pitch.
Thank you. That was great, Jonathan. So Niels, that's something we could take up later and things like that. So we'll go over to Michael next.
Yeah, I left it off of mute this time. So no, good pitch, Niels. Is it Niels? Is that right?
Yes.
So really good pitch. We'll start with the things to clear up, which is what Jonathan said. I think selling it as a bit more energetic opportunity. The drone market is there, and if you are nailing these things down, such as weather issues and the range, it's maybe showing us that, like you said, are you looking for last mile delivery? Also, kind of just a bit more clarity, in my opinion, just a bit more clarity on your delivery company, hence the name Drone Mail, but it might confuse the fact that you also do video and shooting as well. Production, I think is what you were also showing with the guys who were flying across the channel. So just a little bit of confusion there. I think you have a lot more to offer than maybe what it seemed. So maybe it's just something to look at, how can we make this a bigger sell? But the good thing is that the scalability, the things you want to show with bringing in more operators, bringing in more talent so that you can have the people on board to do it. So I think it's just adding a little bit of spice, in my opinion, to the presentation. But as a techie person, I know what you're doing there's a market for that. So maybe it's just showing others who might not know that, but it's a good job, really good job.
Awesome. Thank you for the feedback, Michael. That's fabulous. And Volker, over to you.
First of all, I want one. And secondly, I have lived in Malta, so I know where to find you. So I think what is helpful, rather than quoting an Amazon email to a UK government agency that is sort of like looks a bit cheeky, but I think it would be more helpful to use that particular slide to and this is to what Michael and Jonathan said, to basically map out the market opportunity at large a little bit better. I think the one you showed where you were shooting video and photography, that's a total no-brainer. Everyone understands that. But is as to Michael and the hint on delivery, that was less clear. And then on the one hand is when you look at the specs, you say on the one hand you go 150 miles an hour. My pizza doesn't need to arrive at 150 miles an hour. So I think you can balance this a little bit. Your hardware is eminently, if it does all the things that it said on the slide, it is evidently amazing. So now I think what you need to do is try and marry the two to the larger market opportunity. And I'm sure it's all in your head. But I think that you could probably articulate slightly more clearly on your slides as well.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Volker. That was great. And Niels, great pitch and nailed it down. So I think just with that 1 week, you've turned it into this.
Can I add one thing?
Go ahead, Volker.
And that was in respect of the money you're trying to raise. 1.3 million for a hardware play is extremely low. I know if this is your first time doing this, it sounds like a scarily large number, but for people who do invest in hardware, they might think, well, either you're not knowing what you're doing, or will it last you long enough, etc. So I think when it comes to hardware investment, there are some people who simply won't touch it simply because they're scared of it. But those who do invest in hardware, to them, the question, if it's is it 1.3 or 2.5 or 5, might not actually be the big challenge. So yeah, just a parting note. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much, Volker, and great things to think about, especially anybody else that's producing things, manufacturing items, especially technology. Those are some big things. So the poll, I think, is it showing up for everybody else? There it is. Here's the poll. And in the background, while you're all doing on this, on the 1st of July, we've nailed down an audience with Dr. Alan Barnard and Jay Abraham, who's on stage most of the time with Anthony Robbins, talking about making better growth and faster decisions. We're working on this with Jonathan and the team from And Rising, but we've got 100 spots. So it's one of those where it's an invite only, but we wanted to make sure people knew about it because there's some awesome stuff going to happen here. So let's show the drone mail. Look at Nils. Do you know what drone mail does? Fabulous. 80%, we know what he does. And then we've got the ask and investable. Listen to that. It's good. People understand it. And at the end, before the breakout rooms, we didn't want to take up any of Nils's great pitching time because he's got this fabulous video of some of the stuff that they've done with Red Bull, with some of the racing over the water. So just before going to breakout rooms, we'll make sure that you guys get to see that. So up next, we have Tony from Perfocal. So Tony, if we can get him ready. Here he is. Karaoke with Tony.
Hello.
There he is, karaoke with Tony, and then he'll show us your screen.
Sorry, just 1 second. I'm quite far away from my desktop.
The beauty of Zoom and technology. Very good. So that was great. You can see if you've been to BullRings before, the level is stepping up and stepping up and stepping up. So we're really excited about showing you all these businesses that are here today. So Tony, there we are.
Is that right?
Yep, we see it. Tony from Perfocal, your time starts now.
Hi, everyone. Hi, dear Bulls. My name's Tony. I'm the founder of Perfocal. And what is Perfocal? In shortest format, we take photos. We create great photos, for almost anything for business and individuals, in much easier ways for much better prices. And well, they call us Uber for hiring photographers. I mean, I personally don't entirely agree with that, but yes, you get the idea. And let's start from the classic ask, why? So, because it matters, photography matters. Photography is absolutely everywhere. Some of you might be like, I remember how much I paid my wedding photographer, and never forget that. But yes, and it's more than that. Think about the lunch you order from say Deliveroo. Your chef cooked it, but yes, there's a photographer behind it too. Brands are spending loads to get their online presence right because great photo sells, and great consistent content is now basically sort of business structure for everyone now. But getting it done right isn't really straightforward every time. 91% of the photographers in the UK are freelancers, which means they all have their own website, their own way of work, their own specialties, and people could make dozens of courses, but only to find out they're not available or out of their budget. And worse, there's no way to guarantee quality. And photographers, on the other hand, also struggles. They put most of their time in admin, marketing, travel, editing, but just not shooting. They have plenty of gaps on the calendar, but cannot really fill them up. And so they can only price up. The market is highly fragmented, which means there's a hassle for both sides. In the meanwhile, it's actually a big and growing market. People are getting used to this on-demand everything kind of digital area. And again, there's no dominating player in this massive 80 billion worth global market. So how do we solve this problem in this massive market? Introducing Perfocal. So our way is just like any other curated marketplaces. We vet the supply, the photographers very strictly. We made it on demand. So on that is simple. We also went further by being a part of the service by, with centralized editing. So customers always get consistent results on time, every time. And photographers can focus on what they really want to do. That's shooting. We also have introduced, say, merchandise options so people can really get, from booking a photographer to have the photo book delivered or the favorite photo framed on the wall within a few clicks. We also have enterprise solutions which can manage thousands or hundreds of shoots for bigger companies with distributed branches or projects. And so by making it on demand we significantly reduce the cost for photographers. So which means we actually can offer packages from just £99, including delivery, including coming to you, and still being able to maintain a very good, healthy margin. So where are we now? We launched the platform in early 2018, and we have seen great growth since then. We've got extensive network of about 1,200 photographers, carefully picked from about 7,000 applicants. We've delivered almost 1 million unique images and maintained a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. 2020 was indeed tough. So it's for everyone, I'm sure. I mean, we were doing hundreds of business events and weddings and parties already in 2019, but none of these happened. But we actually managed to find our way out, and then we find new growth channels and made another 2-digit growth year. We're actually testing flights in new, exciting new markets such as US and Canada. So literally, I mean, these are just some random reviews I picked from Trustpilot. We've got like more than 400 of them. People love us. If they love you, they come back. And we're truly, truly enabling the magic power of storytelling for everyone here. Who's behind it? So I'll go really quick on this slide because, I mean, we hire a bunch of people remotely and we have never physically met. As a photography company, ironically, we don't have photos. But to summarize, we have a small, passionate team behind the product, and we are backed by some of the top investors and great advisors. We have access to really good resource and support. So next, where we will be, we're already testing videography. We're thinking a few other things really exciting like AI technology in the enhancement. We want to, of course, grow and expand. And our target is, we're going to start from European market and English-speaking countries. It's really, I mean, just think about the potential scale. UK is not a particularly big company, big country. So I'm sure we will do, great in America as well, because the launching cost for a city is as low as a few £100. We'll talk about that later. Now the ask, we're asking for 1.5 million investment in our pre-series run to really nail 3 key activities. So first, we need talent, more talent. We need senior talents in BD, in engineering, in marketing, as well as actually in photography and creatives. We put these people, we need to put them into core developments of our product, like mentioned videography, user dashboards, enterprise solutions, and we want to double down on the new market expansion. We want to scale up the sales team and continue investment in both organic and paid channels. That's it. If you got any questions, reach out and let's chat.
Tony, thank you very much for that. I gave you an extra half minute because of your passion. If it was boring, I would have cut you off, but that was fun.
My watch, yes, beeped, yes, but thank you.
I got you. You're telling me it's an iWatch, and I've got an iPad right here counting up. So don't tell me that they're arguing with each other. No, it's fun. It was really good. So Jonathan, actually, we'll start off with Volker this time.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Tony. A very clear, clean pitch. I think it came across, well, as I said, very clearly what you're building, and I think this will be visible to most people. Like other of these marketplaces, a marketplace is always a pretty shitty proposition until it isn't.
Yeah.
So you have the empty room syndrome at first, etc. And it seems, that you have addressed this partially. And I saw that you have Fuel Ventures on your cap table who are pretty much specializing on marketplaces. So I think you probably are getting good advice there. But it might be worthwhile, to set aside a slide to expand on how you are going to address that at scale. Because because you again you're working with real people, and that means you cannot just spin an instance of available photographers in Paris, but you actually need to find real photographers in Paris. So to have a slide to basically, you know, map out on how you're going to do this will harness your pitch. And marketplaces are a little bit like hardware. You know, some people won't ever invest in them because they're so relatively hard well, it's so relatively hard to calculate if this will work at scale or not. And so one last thing on your team slide, you know, where you said you didn't have photos. It is generally a thing on slides, and this is true for every single slide. So on your team slide, it shows a name and it says X Monzo. But I don't know if that person was the head of product or the guy who designed the card, or if he was whatever, an assistant window cleaner there. So you know, think of a slide as real estate that you need to populate, and basically a pitch deck is the sole purpose a pitch deck has is to get you to a meeting. In other words, you know, and so I take the team as an example. If you can convince me that this is the team to do this, then maybe I'm hesitant otherwise. But if that team slide brings it across, then I'll take the meeting. You know, so I mean, you have clearly a good eye for design, but it is worthwhile basically spending time on every single one of your slides to see, you know, how you can get information on it. And I've said it before, and this is true for most founders, I think, it's all in your head. You have it, you know, it's just try and put it onto the slides, you know, and I'll shut up in a second, but this, the Monzo thing, for instance, you know, so if you're head of product, can't remember who it was, but if your head of product had a leading product role at Monzo, you know, that's a pretty compelling thing, because at least in the UK, everyone knows what a good product Monzo built out of the blocks. So you have a lot less convincing to do that your product guy knows what he or she is doing.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that was
Thank
really
you.
good. Great feedback.
Yeah,
on that
thank
real
you.
estate.
Amazing. That's
good. Thank you. Jonathan, over to you.
Yeah, I like it, Tony. I thought it was really good. Really well structured pitch, and it worked well as a pre-read. I think we could probably work a little bit on the story over the top of it, but net, it's clear you know how to put things together and to structure things in the way that investors are looking for. I do share the scale issue that Volker raised, but then I wondered if this business needs to go to a kind of Airbnb level of scale, or whether it works more just by going global in a slightly different way. And the good news is that Airbnb's done a ton of work for you on how to do these kind of matchmaking between providers and users. And I think that photography and demand, a bit like the first presentation, demand for bespoke, creative, for me, put together in a slightly different way photography, I think is way bigger than people, you know, we're all doing it ourselves on our phones. I think that could easily be switched into an Uber style service where it goes out to someone to do something a little more special for you. So I think the market is there for that. There's Atelier Ventures in New York, which you should definitely tap on the shoulder. There's a lady there called Lee Jin, who's come out of Androsine, and is a marketplace specialist, but she's also a creator economy specialist, and looking at things like Patreon and OnlyFans and these marketplaces where the creators are making some money by delivering certain services on micro scales. And I think the difference, my guess is just off the bat, it's going to be different from Airbnb. There's going to be less, here's the range of things, which is what the benefit of Airbnb is. It's very bespoke. And it might be a little bit about standardizing it and giving 2 or 3 simple options and making it easier to do than necessarily fiddling around too much. So I think it's really exciting. I think it's there. And then my last point, I guess, as the brand guys, Perfocal is a tricky name if you're thinking of a mainstream consumer kind of usage, which I think you should be. Even if it was just called Ufocal, I think you would you'd make your scaling a little quicker.
We
Cool.
actually thought about
great
that.
feedback, Jonathan. Okay.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
And then over to Michael, ex-photographer, or still photographer, but amateur now because nobody. So, but now he's got Perfocal, he'll be able to do that. So go for it.
Yeah,
Mike.
I know. I'll send you my details, send you my portfolio. But no. Like everyone else said, great presentation. I feel like, and I say this for everybody who's English as a second language, which I don't want to assume, but I believe yourself and Nielsen. you guys do a really good job to present in a language that's not even your own and having to come up with all the nuances. And, so if that's the case, guys, then you get extra points for that as well. I think it's a good idea. I would play a bit more on the Uber for photography. You kind of dismissed it a little bit, like, oh, we're kind of, some people say the Uber photography, but because in reality, it is the Deliveroo, the Uber photography. If you need somebody, like Jonathan said, typically we're thinking, more and more with Instagram and the way we're self-marketing, do it yourself. But if there is somebody who can come in and quickly be there, do it professionally, cost effectively, then that's a really big selling point. We could always go down the street and grab our food from McDonald's, but have them come to us is great, and if you could do that with photography where, hey, my little one's here, I want a quick shoot, or my friends are here, for visiting, blah, blah, blah. So highlight that, really play on that a bit more. I think that's a key thing. But the other side is just making sure you're attractive to photographers. Because for me, I know if I go private and I do my own organizing, there's a lot, I can take a lot more out of that than if I end up on a website. So what you want to do is show, which you probably did, but just to make sure you're capitalizing on showing, hey guys, we're a marketplace, and if you put your portfolios and bring yourselves to us, we will put you in front of this expansive group of people. So, but good job, really good job.
That was awesome. Thank you, Michael. Hopefully that was good feedback for you, Tony. Now let's see what the audience thinks. So over to Mehul for the poll. Once we get the poll up, and one of our sponsors, partners here, has access to the apprenticeship scheme, so you can power up your team even if they're on furlough, and they've got ways of doing it for free. So if you want to know more about that, Learn Play Foundation is sponsoring today. So if you want to know more about accessing the apprenticeship levy to power up your teams, make sure you give us a call and we'll put you in touch with the team over at Learn Play Foundation. So let's see what we said here. We're getting really fast at this. Here we go. Understand what perfocal does. Look at that. Even if it's not eufocal, it's perfocal, but we know what he does. Great feedback too on that one, Jonathan. Do you understand the ask? Yeah, there we are. Only one no. And investable. Look at that. We already know that you've had money, but it's perfect. So thank you very much. That was awesome, Tony. And
thank you.
To our last picture of the day. So we've set the bar really high. So Moy from Redbox, we can hear you and see your slides, sir. Look at you. You're all ready to go. So Moy from Redbox, I will put you on. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Billy. Hello, everyone. My name is Moy, and I'm here to present Redbox, a technology platform for all property owners. So the ask with the presentation today is we're trying to raise investment to scale, move to the next level of the business. And also we are looking for executive partnership, those warm introduction to the businesses in property market. Before I dive right into the details of what we are building, let's just understand the problem we are trying to address. And that's time and money in property management. According to research, if you see, a landlord spends about 3 days a month looking after their property and spends about 27% of their rental income looking after the property, annual maintenance, repair, surprises, and everything, and which is hoping for $4.5 billion roughly in a year. So what are we doing here? So in Redbox, we are trying to solve this problem by using technology. And with the technology, what we are building is a single platform offering 4 key aspects. One, a digital organizer, which is a AI-enabled cloud-based management system, which manages your warranty, documents, shared everything in one place. We are also building a platform where you can book, schedule, manage, do everything of the building management services, like let's say gas safety, boiler service, electrical safety, everything right from the app. We're also building the same platform where you can buy, manage, claim, pay everything for all the property related insurances, one place. And the last one is the banking, which is a dedicated property card, which gives access to our marketplace, and people get cashback, actual cashback, no reward points, no loyalty points, actual cashback. And we're estimating the saving could be roughly 400 quid a year against each property. We estimate, we think our red box fits right into the real estate fintech, which is a sweet spot between proptech and fintech, and the investments are increasing really rapidly there. And we estimate the earning could be, it has the potential of 400 million a year, and that's only from the card subscription, excluding any of the commissions or brokerage fees earned from the insurance or services. So, well, how are we going to go to the market? D2C, definitely, direct to consumer is one way of going into it, and we are working on this. We are also working on different business partners. So we are onboarding different partners. We have a couple of demos next week as well, where we are offering our platform to them so that they can use it for their document management. And in return, they are expanding our services to their existing landlords. And the last one is, we're also ready to white label our product, and we've got some inquiries as well to offer small brokers to serve their customers. The competitive landscape is good because we're not the absolutely new player. However, if you see, the competition is quite scattered. Someone who is into the digital organizing space, not doing anything about the insurance or banking. Someone who is in banking, and I'm not talking about financial products, they're not doing anything about the boiler service. So they're all in different silos, and we are trying to build the red box which fits all the bill. Where we are at the moment, so we have launched our organizer last year, October, and we have got roughly around 1,400 downloads, roughly 30-35% from UK only, and we're rapidly growing. We have launched our gas safety boiler, all those non-insurance service, including Switch Energy, early this month, and we have started doing that. We have sourced both insurance and the banking products. We have applied in the FCA, and we are anticipating we'll be ready with the authorization the third quarter this year. As a team, Austin and I we work together in Co-op Insurance. That's how we know each other. We combined, we have roughly 16, 17 years of insurance experience, hardcore. Austin comes from wealth of marketing knowledge, whereas I come from technology background, and that's our team, and the chemistry is really good. So the ask for this is, we're trying to raise 250,000 at this level against 5% of the equity, and we are ACIS, EIS ready, and we are also looking for those warm connection in the property market. Thank you so much for listening to me. Any question, I'd be happy to answer. Thank you.
Very good. You had your own 5-minute timer on. That was good, Moin. Thank you for doing that. So we'll start off with Michael this time with some feedback from Moy on Redbox.
Yeah, Moy, good job. Definitely on the presentation. I have to admit, my property understanding, for better or for worse, is a bit low. I'm much more on the tech side, but that said, the fintech, does factor in there. So no, it was a good presentation. I think, to be honest, I feel a bit hard pressed to do feedback on this one. I'm not sure. For me, my understanding is a bit thin on the property side. So what I'm thinking is, with the rental market, people with landlords, people. There's different estate agents. I know they have their property services already in play. A lot of them are starting to do similar to what you're doing. So when you rent a place, immediately you're getting, advertising from certain industries, switch this energy or switch that, all channeled through the estate agent. So it's not your fault. It might be my fault. I'm just trying to figure out how you guys could compete with that. I think, but I want to be honest, it's not your fault. That can honestly be on me just for not understanding that. So the fluidity of your presentation was good, though, and I appreciate that.
Perfect. Michael, thank you very much. Volker, over to you.
Yep. Don't hide competitors that are actually there, because they are there. And so it's likely that people you speak with will either know that or will Google it, so you might as well call them out. And because what that then allows you is to rather say, okay, how are you going to beat HomeServe? That's one thing. But how are you actually going to beat other startups that have similar ideas? And, and this can be, you're the better team, your tech is better, your rollout is better, whatever it is. But if you don't address this in a pitch directly, then people will think about these things on the side, which doesn't help you much. So that was one thing I thought. And I mean, the reason why I picked up on this, it's a few years back, because I advised the founding team out of London. They called themselves, I think, Moore app or something like this, which is room in reverse. It was, what they were trying to do was literally the same thing. And which is not a bad thing, by the way. It shows that there is actual demand. Okay, the second point I'd like to address was on your very, very last slide. I would, if this is a pitch that you're sending out, or this is a pitch that you're delivering to someone that is not one-on-one, I would not call out evaluation. You will start discussing evaluation anyway. But what if I think the right valuation is 4.5, and then you say 5, and I say, oh, that's too high for me, and I go, and I will not even have that chat with you. So that's one reason. And I mean, well, whatever, pre or post money of 5 that's pretty juicy. In other words, high for where you are on your usage. So I think you might need to be prepared to go a bit lower on that. One reason for that is also, and this is more to the benefit of everyone really here, is most funds have a certain sort of corridor they want to land in terms of ownership. And because and in our case, for instance, we try and hold 10% of the business. So it's, I would much rather give you 500,000 on X valuation. But this is something I would look at, and you will find this with many funds. They're all a bit different. A lot of them are around that 10% mark, or I don't know. Episode 1, I know they basically usually want to give you £1 million for 20%. But because this is there, it's, if you basically say, I raise this for that, you kind of like limit yourself down a little bit without there being a need. Definitely. If you just say I'm raising 250K, SEIS, EIS approved, and then you'll have that discussion later. As I said earlier to Tony, I think, the purpose of your deck is to get the meeting. No one writes you a check on the back of a deck. So that discussion is one to have in the meeting. And as I said, in particular, because it's a fairly ambitious valuation that you're seeking, on 1,400 users, I would probably take it off the deck for the time being.
Perfect.
I hope that it was helpful.
It makes sense. So, and then last but not least, over to Jonathan for feedback on this, please.
So I love the Redbox brand. I think you've got a great brand there. I love the idea of something that consolidates the different pieces of the rental market and the different services into one place. I think sort of things consolidating is a good thing. As far as the investment side, I got a little bit lost. I think has been picked up by the other guys, which is I couldn't understand if this was for people trying to let their properties, which meant I didn't have to use an estate agent, which I personally feel that's what I felt was the most appealing, was to be able to say, actually, you can have second property and manage it yourself. And to be able to do it with this app and look after the cleaning, the insurances, and all the other bits and bobs. There's a lot of people with buy-to-lets that they're trying to rent and they have to pay agents fees at the moment. And I wondered if that's what you were going after. If you're going after a rentee audience, and we've worked with Urban Jungle, ClearScore, and actually HomeServe on their tech side, is it's pretty difficult to get people to buy products, insurance, or cleaning when they don't trust you quite yet as a brand. So that's why I think I prefer to take out the estate agent, because that seemed to be more valuable to me than, or more valuable as an investor potentially as a market, because you're sort of taking a middle person out than it is another place to shop, cleaners or what have you. Not that it couldn't extend into that over time, but I was lost a bit where you were going to start first. There is another path you put up, which is the white label idea, which is you give it to estate agents and it becomes their tool. And I actually really like that idea too, that they can just put their own logo on it and everyone's using basically the same back-end system to tidy up how they manage their clients. There could be a viable idea in that as well. So then those things weren't quite properly sized. And then I had a different point to Volker's, which was I didn't then quite know what the investment was to build towards, because that slide that you had where it could be white label, it could be a consumer product, it could be for the estate agents, felt like three quite different directions to me. But the start point was great. We're going to bring it all together. We're going to call it Redbox. It's going to manage this whole area and remove all this friction, remove all this cost and time and wasted. I was really at that point, I was like, yeah, I sort of feel like that thing's knackered and it needs a massive kind of cleanup. So you definitely got something. It's a bit of a tidy up, I think, after that.
Perfect. That was great. So let's put up the poll and see what the audience thought. This is for you, Moy. So as we're doing this, the next thing, Mike, if you could come in as we're getting this done, you can call out the next slide and the feedback here, and then you can give a little bit of feedback on the overall since the pitch perfect practice that we had. So you can close out this slide and start us off on just the general feedback before we get out of here. Michael?
Oh, is that me?
No, sorry, Mike Pagan.
I'm waiting for the poll to end. I presumed you were about to do the poll conclusion.
You end it now. Mahul will end it now. I was going to hand it over to you. It's seamless production here between Mike and I.
But yeah, as you can see, Moy, there's great feedback for you there. 90% understand it, 80% I want to play. And okay, there's a few questions that have been asked by the bulls going through there as to whether it's investable or not at the moment. And that'll be a bit of clarity, which we've had some really great feedback going on in there. So just closing that off. There we go. That's 4 pictures, some brilliant feedback from all of you. I don't want to give any further feedback to any of the pictures about your what was in there, what wasn't in there. I mean, I've got some questions in my head about clarity of exits, but the feedback I'd like to do is just generic feedback to all 4 of you on the pictures. I would love you to smile more. There was a lot of nerves there today, and when we get nervous, we put on that scary witch face and the frowny, and we forget to smile. We just got to get things like that working. Some of the lighting and the green screen and the virtual backgrounds wasn't as crisp as it could be. So again, these are little things that are experimenting with. The hardest part of this is doing a 5-minute pitch to a camera lens the size of your fingernail and not knowing where that camera lens is. We've got to be trying to engage the whole time through that camera lens, so you know where your slides are, you know what's happening. And there was quite a lot of sort of just talking in general, and it's got to go through that lens, which is always tough. And today's buzzword, so it was used by many at many points throughout. So I just raised that as we always get buzzwords. It's an adjective that doesn't really need to be there at the start of every link. Just lose it, guys. And that will happen the more rehearsals and the more work you do. And that's what makes the difference. Pitch perfect practice is what we did. There's always more we can do. So let's have more conversations. I'll hand you back to Bart.
Perfect. Okay, just one good feedback and one challenge to the pitchers. We'll start off with Michael Quintana this time, since Mike was all ready to. So just quick feedback on the overall presentation, not individually. And one thing that you thought was great, and one thing that's a challenge to all of the pitchers as a generalization.
Yeah. So the nervousness, is probably the negative side, which comes off as kind of getting lost a bit and a little bit of stuttery. I'm the same though. And that's just practice and timing. The positive though is that everybody, it was conveyed that what your product, your idea. I can tell that this is something that needs to be put out there, and it's just getting that message across. A quick cheat though, Hannah, I'm just gonna say something quickly. Hannah, Think about virtual reality and augmented reality as another opportunity for reaching your audience remotely, because I know there's a space for that particularly. I'm good. I'm done. I cheated there.
Mic drop by Mike. Cool. Okay, we'll go over to Volker.
I mean, speaking to the camera rather than to the screen below the camera is indeed, as Mike just said, that is very powerful. It is, however, also extremely hard. Now, there is, however, something you can do if you just take a piece of paper and put it in front of your computer screen, because whilst you are talking, you don't need to see the screen. And then you will find yourself automatically looking at the little green line that is next to your camera. But it is a very, very challenging thing. You know, in terms of nervousness, there are a number of things to consider. You know your business better than anyone else in this room. You know, you don't need to imagine that I don't know, it's that all the audience is naked or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Just bear in mind, you know your business better than everyone else, than anyone else. It is highly unlikely that the big specialist, you know, sits in role one, and that means that, you know, even if you kind of like go a little bit off piste compared to what you really wanted to say originally, it doesn't matter. People won't realize, because you know what's right, they don't. But it is something that comes with practice. So don't beat yourself up too much. But it is worthwhile. It is worthwhile to practice and practice often. I have a little side gig as a public speaker, and I will actually an hour before lock myself up in a bathroom and speak to myself in the mirror. And trust me, that is like the scariest and silliest thing. But I do this for two reasons, because you know, I said it earlier, when Hannah came up, she delivered a performance, and she did that because she's a performer. And when you do speak, this is, you know, the first, I'm saying this the third time now, it is a pitch gets you to a meeting. And so it's a performance that gets you to an end. And this is how you need to treat it. Now, because most entrepreneurs aren't performers, and we don't think of ourselves as entertaining an audience, but the moment in these 5 minutes when we are on a stage, that is exactly what we do. Therefore, practice, it really makes you better.
That's going to lead us perfectly into the last slide. But that was awesome feedback. These are Volker's tips. And the paper on the screen, he's going to sell that to everybody. So there's a little bit of an extra pitch there. So if he's going to get,
if you go to my website, there's some merchandise.
A piece of paper that's going to go out to everybody. That's going to have Volker on there, and we're going to do a crowd share. So we're going to do a fundraise on the paper cover. That'll be awesome. Okay, over to you, Jonathan.
The guys did a super job today. It's very difficult pitching, and I can't agree enough with the rehearsal points. My advice is really around structure. And I think when you've got 5 minutes, and as Volker's saying, the job is to really throw a ball at the audience or the investors to then really get a more detailed conversation where you can start talking and pulling the bonnet up. I think it's easier to start at the end, because basically in a 5 minutes, the attention's sliding like that. And as we get lost, that's when things start to kind of zone out. So I felt that a lot of the people's asks weren't clear enough, and they need to come right to the beginning. So it would kind of, a simple structure would be, you know, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm here, and this is what I need. Now let me talk you through 3 things that back that up, and then wrap up. So kind of like the big thought or the big thing for the day, 3 things that support it, and out. And sometimes you might need to rebuild your slides to help you there, or even just don't worry about the slides and talk it, rather than have the pitch deck follow up. So that's actually more designed to be read or scrolled very quickly on a phone in a similar manner and digested as a pitch. So yeah, I like the go big, go with the end at the beginning, and three trend lines or 3 thoughts to land, and then out is my if in doubt, try that structure.
Perfect. Jonathan, thank you so much. Mehul, so slides, please. So hopefully you've enjoyed today. Our next bull rings, if you know anybody that wants to pitch, if you know somebody that would be an awesome bull, then make sure you send them our way. We got May 20th, we've got June 17th, and July, I think it's behind the numbers here. So it is July 15th. So looking for great companies, great bulls, and a great audience with the great feedback that we've had from you guys. Mehul, next slide, please. Oh my gosh, they couldn't have teed it up any better. And we didn't even pay them or anything. So Michael, Jonathan, and Volker have all pointed this out, is these people actually went through pitch perfect practice the first time and they changed. If you would have seen their pitch decks before they came through, we would have been here until 6 o'clock. But now we got it to this point. But that was after just one pitch perfect practice. We put the program together to say, look, this is your sales pitch. This is your pitch. If you are going to be pitching for £250,000, which Redbox was, you have to nail it. You have to nail the whole thing, not just the energy, but the practice. This is it. This is the showcase for you. If you were going in, which you guys just did, and asking for £1 million, do you think you gave it everything it was worth? If not, then you need to be on something like our Pitch Perfect practice. So you can check in with us about the next one that's coming up, but make sure you make it back here. And we give this to the people that come through the bull ring. So next slide, please. It just leaves me to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to all of our bulls, to Jonathan, to Michael, to Volker. That's fabulous. Thank you very much to the audience. And thank you very much to the pitchers for showing us your wares and what you guys have going on and the great things that you're trying to bring into the world as entrepreneurs. So it's fabulous. And so thank you to all of you. Before we go into the breakout rooms, which is our networking and everything else bit, Nils, we just wanted to show off a little bit of the rock and roll that is Nils on his videos. So Mehul's going to try to do this. So watch this. If it gets a little bit glitchy, you might get this because it's coming in off of our YouTube. So Mehul, we'll let you kick off with this, I think. But you'll get what we're talking about here with what... Nils' drone's following. I know it's kind of the audio's a little bit low, but this is what he does, the trackability, the traceability. This is what they've been doing the whole time. So, and then you get to see some beautiful shots of Malta. Perfect, Mehul. If we could stop it now, and so if you want the video, we'll show you. Niels has this on his video channel, but that was Drone Mail. Thank you very much. I want to make sure we get chance. Thank you very much to all the bulls, and we're going to go into breakout rooms now. So if you're hanging around for the networking, then Mehul is going to put us in breakout rooms. There'll be 2, and then we will chat and close down. So we'll talk to you in a little while.